So something I love watching in playoff basketball, also something that annoys me a little bit, is I guess you would call it rationalizing. I'm not sure that would be the right word for this context, but like tonight, game 3 against Denver, where let's say the Nuggets lost this game, you would have Denver fans that say, man, Jokic played this poorly and we were only one shot away from winning the game. And on the other side right now, I know OKC fans are saying, we're not going to shoot that poorly from three. Shea's going to be better. iHeart isn't going to miss that many floaters, right? We do this after every single playoff game. And in reality, it doesn't really matter because no game is going to be the same game. No game is going to be the same environment. No game is going to be the same nerves. No game is going to be the same calls. No game is going to be the same luck. So you just got to win these games no matter what, no matter how it looks, you got to win these games. And that's what we continuously see the Denver Nuggets doing. They get so many wins where you're like, how did they win that game? And usually a large part of it is Jokic, and a large part of it tonight was still Jokic. 8 of 25, 8 turnovers. I'm not here to tell you he had a good game, but still down the stretch of this game, they were able to generate much better looks than OKC was. And Jokic obviously is a big part of that. And coming into the playoffs this year, I think most people were worried about the Nuggets on defense because they were not a good defensive team all year. And I don't want to diminish what they're doing. I'm not about to act like OKC is this easy team to guard, but I do think it has helped them that the two teams they played are two of the most isolation-heavy teams in the NBA. And again, when you are doing that, you allow a team that is not very good on defense to not have to play defense for a full 24-second shot clock. And obviously, it's not easy to stop Shea and J-Dub one-on-one. And we've seen what J-Dub was doing in this game. And obviously, OKC has proven their style of basketball works. But a perfect example of this will be the Celtics against the Knicks, right? When the Celtics are spreading the ball around, they're moving it around, they're playing fast, all of a sudden Cat's out of place, all of a sudden Brunson's out of place. But if you're going to take it into isolation basketball, someone like Jalen Brunson's going to hold his own. Someone like Cat's going to hold his own. Same thing with the Nuggets. If it's going to be isolation basketball, well, Jamal Murray can battle with you. Jamal Murray's strong. Jokic is strong. Jokic has great hands. Westbrook in a one-on-one battle, he's going to hold up. And when you seen that fourth quarter from OKC, they did nothing really to stress out the defense at all. It was Shea taking early shots, taking just in general some terrible shots from Shea, and we all know he can hit those, but just time and score, I feel like Shea had a very, very bad game, especially that fourth quarter. And I know it's easy for me to say right now, but I promise you it would be no different if OKC won this game. The process was terrible, and again, I keep saying it, that's the great thing about the playoffs, right? Because OKC could have very well won this game while playing atrocious basketball in the fourth quarter. And it wouldn't have mattered. You would have been up 2-1. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as you win in the playoffs, which makes, my task here a little bit more difficult to talk about what happens in the game because it doesn't always correlate to the result. But in this game, it did. But yeah, Shea to me was the main takeaway from this game. And how does he respond next game? Because it was very bad. Like everything he did, I felt like he was making the wrong play. Even all the way down to that last three from Aaron Gordon where he goes for a steal, and he doesn't inherently completely blow up this play. But I think if he doesn't do that and just plays defense, there's no confusion on that play. But that was just another bad decision by your best player in that moment to me. Again, I don't want to completely blame him for that three, but I think if he stays in his place, whoever's man that is just gets back to him. And I know it's not fair to compare anyone to Jokic, but these are the two MVP candidates, and it's also not fair to compare anyone to Jokic because no one has Jokic's mindset, right? Jokic is just wired in a different way to trust his teammates, right? So down the stretch of the game, he was giving Jamal Murray the ball. He was giving Michael Porter Jr. the ball. He was giving Aaron Gordon the ball while Shea was trying to do everything himself. And I know they're different players for sure, but that is part of the greatness of a Jokic where he didn't try to force it when it wasn't his night. He just made the right play while Shea didn't, right? While Shea didn't get the ball to J-Dub, while Shea wasn't trusting Lou Dort and Caruso and Case and Wallace and these other guys the same way that Jokic will trust his shooters, right? Aaron Gordon is kind of on a generational run right now, so it's easy to trust him. But just in general, he's going to trust Westbrook there. He's going to trust Christian Brown. And I could definitely see the argument to say that's the wrong thing to do. I could see why you would say a Shea pull-up mid-range jumper is better than a Lu Dort corner three at the end of a game. I could see that for sure. I could see that. And all year, people have been saying that what's going to cause OKC to lose would be their lack of experience. And so far, we've seen that. Game 1, lack of experience from their coach. Game 2, lack of experience from Shea in these moments. And honestly, from their coach as well. They ran 0 plays, and it kind of started with them challenging on that I heart foul on Jamal Murray. I don't really think that came back to bite them, although maybe it did. But it was a terrible challenge. Like, no chance they were going to win that challenge. And you gave up a timeout in a close game on the road in high altitude. And I just went back to rewatch it. OKC ended regulation with 2 timeouts. They ended regulation with 2 timeouts. Your offense was doing nothing in the fourth quarter. You're up by 3 points with the ball, 50 seconds left. And to be fair, Denver did call a timeout with 1:11 left, down by 3. So maybe you discussed everything you needed to talk about in that timeout. But still, overall, in that fourth quarter, how was there nothing? You know, there was nothing. There was nothing. And you didn't call a timeout at all to get that right. The only timeout they called in the entire fourth quarter was that dumb challenge. They were up 102-99 and only scored 2 more points the rest of that game. So there was a lot from Mark Daigneault in this game, in my opinion, of him being inexperienced and knowing your team is not getting good looks down the stretch here. You're up 102-99. Get a good shot. 1 more bucket, you win the game. Manage the clock better. That was something else with Shea and his decision making. He went early on his last 2 shots. Now I get you want to leave time for a putback, but you don't want to leave a full 3 seconds for Jokic to get an easy turnaround jumper that you just got lucky he missed on. And even the last 2 points OKC scored in regulation, it was Shea doing nothing, getting clamped by Aaron Gordon, and then giving the ball to J-Dub in a pretty bad spot, and he just happens to get fouled there and makes the most out of it. But it was another terrible possession. So I really want to see how Shea responds, because he can come out with the same exact mindset and just make all these bad shots. So I just want to see what's his psyche going into game 4. Oh, and I had 2 other things I wanted to bring up real quick. One is Isaiah Joe barely playing in game 3 and not playing much at all in this series so far. If I was OKC, I think I would play Isaiah Joe just because it would be something else for Denver to worry about. That's a real shooter for them to worry about. They're going to live with Lu Dort shooting. They're going to live with Caruso shooting in ways that I don't think you can live with Isaiah Joe shooting. And also, Isaiah Joe is a movement shooter. He's the only movement shooter they have on the team. So even if Lu Dort gets hot or Caruso gets hot, you're not really worried about them. You're not going to overreact. And also, you don't have to worry about them just moving all over the court, causing chaos, where Isaiah Joe can be that guy. So I would play Isaiah Joe more. And also, I think Denver is kind of showing us that sometimes being a deep team can be a disadvantage. I think part of what's going on with Denver right now and why everybody is so locked in is everybody knows exactly what they're doing. Everybody knows exactly who's playing. They know exactly where everybody is on the court. Where you look at OKC and it's like, is this guy playing? Is this guy playing? We got so many guys, we don't know who to play. And all of a sudden, something that was so important in the regular season, being this deep team dealing with injuries, now you're in the playoffs and maybe you should only be playing 8 guys if you're OKC. But you got so many guys that you've been playing all year. It's kind of a tough position to be in, where Denver, they know they got their 7 guys, sometimes 8, but usually there's 7 guys they're relying on, and everybody is completely bought in to that role. And I think that does kind of go a long way, and that's something we don't really talk about. But before we go, as usual, I end up not giving enough credit to the winning team. Denver is just a bunch of gamers. They're just a bunch of gamers. I think Jamal Murray's defense has been a pivotal factor in their run so far. Like I said, Clippers, they just keep going ISO. And Jamal Murray one-on-one with James Harden, he was holding his own. Jamal Murray one-on-one in the post with Kawhi, didn't happen too much, but when it did, he battled. Jamal Murray one-on-one with Shea, he's holding up. So That's supposed to be a weak point for Denver, and it hasn't been at all. He deserves a ton of credit for that. And Aaron Gordon, I was thinking Aaron Gordon is like, now I know what Al Horford did in Atlanta, so it's kind of different, but it's almost like if Al Horford went to Boston when he was 25 instead of when he was 30, because they are extremely similar. Now they go about it differently. It looks different athletically, but it's kind of that same role. And again, I know Al Horford in Atlanta did a lot more winning than Aaron Gordon in Orlando, but you look at those first couple years, their stats are almost the same. So I'm saying that as a compliment to Aaron Gordon because I believe he's that good right now. Now, I'm not saying you build a team around Aaron Gordon and you win 60 games like Al Horford did, but I think we might still be underrating how good this guy actually is. But I'm going to leave it there for now. Can't wait for game 4. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Please like, comment, subscribe. It will mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.